Welcome to SATV News. This is Riaz Mahmood with our headlines. Peace and order must be restored at any cost, says Tariq Rahman at a 300-feet reception rally. People want to regain democratic rights. BNP leaders, supporters throng capital streets amid Tariq Rahman's historic return. Country celebrates Christmas Day with prayers for peace and prosperity. Special prayers offered at churches. And now in details. On his historic return from London today after a long 17 years in exile, BNP acting chairman Tariq Rahman has shared his plan to build a developed and prosperous Bangladesh with collective efforts of all, reiterating his call to maintain peace and order at any cost. He made these remarks while addressing a historic mammoth gathering at July 36 Expressway in the capital. Referring to a popular quote from US civil rights activist Martin Luther King, "I have a dream." Tariq Rahman said that he has a plan for the people of Bangladesh. At the same time, the BNP leaders sought cooperation from people of all walks to fulfill the plan to build a safe Bangladesh where people, irrespective of castes, creeds and faiths, can live in peaceful environment. During his speech, he recalled Sharif Osman bin Hadi, the Inqilab Manch leader who was tragically killed recently. He said Hadi had wanted the people of this country to regain their economic rights, to repay the debt of blood of those who were martyred in 1971 and those who were martyred in 2024. The Bangladesh must build which the people hoped for, adding the BNP acting chairperson. Following his speech, Tariq Rahman left the reception venue and headed towards Evacare Hospital to see his mother, BNP chairperson Khaleda Zia. Meanwhile, supporters of the BNP gathered in large numbers in Dhaka from early today to welcome party acting chairman Tariq Rahman, who returned home after nearly 1.5 decades. A large section of the crowd assembled outside Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport from midnight, with many supporters later beginning to walk towards the reception venue near the July 36 Expressway. From around 9 a.m., thousands of BNP leaders and activists stood on both sides of the roads in and around the airport area, many of whom had taken positions since midnight or early dawn after arriving from different parts of the country. By morning, the area in front of the temporary stage and along the 300-feet road was packed with leaders and activists from various districts. Throughout the morning, leaders, activists and supporters were seen moving in small processions from the airport area towards the 300-feet road, carrying national and party flags, banners and festoons, as well as the BNP's electoral symbol, the Sheaf of Paddy. Christmas Day, the largest religious festival of the Christian community, is being celebrated today with religious fervor and festivity across the country as elsewhere in the world. Special prayers have been offered at churches which are illuminated for the occasion, while makeshift Christmas trees are set up at homes, churches and mission centers across the country. The day commenced with the morning prayers, the exchange of greetings and the sharing of traditional cakes and pita. Activities include singing carols, cutting cakes and Santa Claus figures, distributing gifts especially for children. Homes have been adorned with luminous stars, miniature Christmas trees, baubles and fairy lights. The capital's hotels and restaurants have also organized special events featuring illuminated trees and festive decor. Joint forces have arrested a 21-year-old woman in Ghazipur in connection with an extortion case filed at Kaliakail police station. The arrestee, Tahrima Jannat Shurobhi, who identified herself as a July warrior on Facebook, was detained from her home in the Gopalpur Tekpara area of Tongi last night, confirmed Kaliakail Thana officer in charge. After the arrest, she was handed over to Kaliakoir police station, the OC say. There's an extortion case against Tahrima Jannat Shuropi. She is being presented in court in this case. And the legal process is ongoing, said the OC. According to the sources, Tahrima is accused of involvement. A severe cold wave coupled with a dense fog has gripped Panchagod, disrupting daily life as the gap between minimum and maximum temperatures narrows and sunshine remains absent until late morning. From dawn until 10 a.m. today, thick fog blanketed the district, reducing visibility on roads, fields and river ghats. Vehicles were forced to move with headlights on due to poor visibility. The biting cold and fog have caused a severe hardship for day laborers and low-income groups, many of whom struggle to work in the morning. In several areas, residents were seen burning straw and firewood to keep warm. Viewers are taking a short break. Stay with us.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0।
Welcome back. You are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. One Palestinian was killed and 6 others were injured on Wednesday by gunfire from Israeli occupation forces outside the deployment areas in Jabalia in the northern Gaza Strip. Sources also confirmed that 3 Palestinians were injured by fire from an Israeli drone in areas of occupation deployment east of the city of Khan Yunis in the southern part of the Strip. Meanwhile, 14 countries including Britain, Canada, Denmark and France have condemned Israel's approval of 19 new settlements in the occupied West Bank, saying their move was illegal and jeopardized the Gaza ceasefire and long-term peace and security across the region. Israel's genocide on Gaza has killed at least 70,942 Palestinians since October 2023. Meanwhile, Pope Leo decreed conditions for Palestinians in Gaza in his Christmas sermon on Thursday. The first U.S. Pope also said that the story of Jesus being born in a stable showed that God has pitched his fragile tent among the people of the world. Leo, celebrating his first Christmas after being elected in May by the world's cardinals to succeed the late Pope Francis, has lamented the conditions for Palestinians in Gaza several times recently and asserted last month that the only solution in the decades-long conflict between Israel and the Palestinian people must include a Palestinian state. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Wednesday Israel would spend $110 billion on developing an independent arms industry to reduce dependency on other countries. Israel will continue to acquire essential supplies while independently arming ourselves, Netanyahu said at a ceremony for new pilots. His administration will strive to ensure that TIS arms are produced as much as possible in the state of Israel, added Netanyahu. He further said that Israel wants to reduce its dependence on any external party, including allies.
אני אישרתי, יחד עם שר הביטחון ושר האוצר,
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan offered his condolences to Libyans on Wednesday for the death of Libyan Chief of Staff Muhammad Ali Ahmed al-Haddad in a plane crash after taking off from Ankara. 4 others who were in the Libyan delegation were also killed, as well as the flight crew. Recovery operations were continuing at the crash site, where Turkish Chief of Staff Salak Bayraktaroglu and other military senior officials arrived to inspect the operations. The private jet reported an electrical failure and requested an emergency landing shortly before crashing near Ankara, Turkey's head of communications said on Wednesday. Turkish search teams on Wednesday recovered the cockpit voice and flight data recorders from a jet crash that claimed the lives of 8 people, including Western Libya's top military commander, as efforts to retrieve victims remained continued, confirmed Turkey's interior minister. French President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday slammed a decision by the United States to impose visa bans on former European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton and other anti-disinformation campaigners. France condemns the visa restriction measures taken by the United States against Thierry Breton and 4 other European figures. These measures amount to intimidation and coercion aimed at undermining European digital sovereignty, Macron said on a social media platform X. Together with the European Commission and our European partners, we will continue to defend our digital sovereignty and our regulatory autonomy, he added. Later in the day, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen also responded to the US sanctions in a post on X, stating freedom of speech is the foundation of our strong and vibrant European democracy. We are proud of it. We will be protecting it because the European Commission is the guardian of our values. China criticized the latest US weapons deal with Taiwan on Thursday, saying the sale was speeding up the threat of war in the Taiwan Strait. Last week, the United States announced $11.1 billion in arms sales to Taiwan, the biggest ever US weapons package for the democratically governed islands, whose government rejects Beijing's sovereignty claims. The United States should stop all provocations and correct its wrong actions, Zhang Jianguang, spokesperson at the Chinese Defense Ministry, said at a regular news conference. The proposed arms sales cover 8 items, including HIMARS rocket systems, Hawaii's Javelin anti-tank missiles, LTO's loitering munition drones, and parts of other equipment, Taiwan's defense ministry said in a statement. An explosion tore through a mosque during evening prayers on Wednesday in Maiduguri, the capital of Nigeria's Borno state. Police confirmed in a statement that 5 people were killed during the blast. The blast occurred in a city that has been at the heart of an Islamist insurgency waged by Boko Haram and its offshoot Islamic State West Africa province for nearly 2 decades, which has killed tens of thousands and displaced millions across the northeast. No group has claimed responsibility yet, but militants have previously targeted mosques and crowded places in Maiduguri in suicide bombing and improvised explosive device attacks. Supporters of Honduras National Party celebrated after the National Electoral Council announced Nasri Asfura as the country's president-elect amid delays and ongoing claims of irregularities from opposition candidate Salvador Nasrallah on Wednesday. Scenes from the capital showed National Party supporters rejoicing following the results, which marked a victory for the Conservative Party and its leader. Addressing the party supporters, National Party spokesperson Maria Antonieta Mejia emphasized unity among members and called for reconciliation within the country. Meanwhile, Liberal Party contender Salvador Nasrallah rejected the results in a press conference. While he vowed not to accept what he described as a flawed process, Nasrallah urged his supporters to avoid confrontation. The electoral authority, known as the CNE, said Asfura had won 40.3% of the vote, edging out central-right Liberal Party candidate Salvador Nasrallah who garnered 39.5%, around 15% of the tally sheets comprising hundreds of thousands of ballots would had to be counted by hand to determine the winner. A pair of explosions and a fire apparently sparked by leaking gas ripped through a nursing home near Philadelphia on Tuesday, killing a female employee and a female resident and injuring 20 people, officials said. 19 are still hospitalized while one remains in critical condition. C.J. Winnick, the police chief of Bristol, Pennsylvania, said on Wednesday. All residents and staff of the Silver Lake Nursing Home in Bristol Township, about 21 miles northeast of Philadelphia, have now been accounted for and the injured taken to local hospitals, officials say. The town's fire chief said that the cause of the explosion is still being investigated. Residents of Somalia's capital are casting ballots in local council elections, marking the first time in more than 50 years that voters will directly choose their representatives, a milestone overshadowed by opposition boycotts. Polling stations across Mogadishu opened at 6 a.m. local time on Thursday, with lines forming early as Somalians queued to participate in what President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud says has called a new chapter in the country's history. About 500,000 people registered to vote for 390 district council seats, with approximately 1,605 candidates competing across 523 polling stations in the capital. The authorities deployed close to 10,000 police officers and imposed a citywide lockdown restricting vehicle and pedestrian movement, as well as stopping flights into the city's main airport. Security in Somalia's capital has improved this year, but the government continues to battle the Al-Qaeda-affiliated armed group Al-Shabaab, which carried out a major attack in October. Somalia last held direct elections in 1969, months before an October military coup that kept civilians out of the power for the next 3 decades. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. Peace and order must be restored at any cost, says Tariq Rahman at 300-feet reception rally. People want to regain democratic rights. PNP leaders, supporters throng capital streets amid Tariq Rahman's historic return. Country celebrates Christmas Day with prayers for peace and prosperity. Special prayers offered at churches. You are updated with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.